Okay, so it's been about 24 hours. I swept off my moving blanket here, so I'm gonna go ahead and lay this down on there and take the sander to it and see if the primer's dry all the way through. I'm thinking it should be, but you never know because I did put it on pretty heavy. Let's see, maybe you can't. So it's pretty heavy, but I'm thinking once I sand it down, a lot of that wood grain should disappear into the primer. We're gonna find out. Alright guys, so I sanded everything till it's smooth. It did come through on some spots in the wood. I mean, it looks horrible, but it's so freaking smooth. There's a few spots that you can still see a few pieces of wood grain, and that's mostly up around this top edge. Once again, the only reason it's rough is because I come from the primer to actual wood, but it's smooth, if that makes sense. I don't feel the wood grain. How about that? I just feel a different texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some primer and put a couple more coats on all the sides that I've sanded. Same thing with the top of this here. I'm gonna put a couple coats on all of this, just the stuff I sanded, and I'm gonna wait for it to dry, and then I'm gonna come out, and since I'm pretty confident that I've got mostly smooth, meaning the primer sanded down to all the low spots of the wood grain. Once my couple coats that I put on now dries, I will take that big long, I don't know, what is it, 20-inch block sander and put some 240 on it and just smooth out the primer with the block sander so I can get it as straight as I can, meaning waviness, and I'm gonna paint it. Whatever it turns out like, it turns out like. But I'll guarantee that it's way better than when I first started. At least I'll think so. Alright guys, so now I have it finished primering it, and some of the places that you could still see a little bit of wood grain, I mean, it transfers underneath, but I'm pretty certain that I've got it good enough that when all this dries now, I can take my block sander and sand probably 90% out of anything that's visible right now, because it's way better than it was. So I almost forgot something, and I had just a little bit more primer left in my gun, and I'm like, shit, I never drilled the hole for the power switch. So I hurry up and drilled the hole for the power switch, sanded the area around it, and then primered in there. So I didn't forget it. Lightly primered the insides of the doors, so the doors are completely primered. Again, when I sand this, I'm going to flip it upside down and I'm going to take some of that real cheap black paint that I have, you know, like dollar store shit for $1, and I'm going to coat the bottom of this with that black paint to seal the wood shut. So I'll be back out here when this stuff's dry, and I'll do a little bit of block sanding on film and see how it turns out. This is to come up around this roller so this roller can roll, and then it turns and goes over top this roller. So as it pulls down in there, this roller can roll. Is this not correct? Because we keep being told we have to put it between here. It fucking scrapes on the steel if you do it that way.
Whoa, that dude just hit Shack Attack.
Okay, so I got this in the drill press. I should have gotten a shot before, so when I do the red one, I'll be a little bit more thorough on it. I wasn't sure I could get rid of all this pitting, so it looks like I might be able to get rid of most of it. So basically I spun this, took this 80 grit and wrapped around the shaft and got it as close to the ball as I could without hitting the ball. And removed the bulk of that crud. Now I'm going to move to 120 and then 240. Then I'm going to move to a rubbing polishing compound, and we'll have to see how it looks. Alright, so I've 220 or 240'd this. I always just say 220. It's really 240, guys. So when I say 220, I mean this 240. I really wish I could get it to pick up, but this ball has a real like brownish glaze over it. So I'm going to spray this piece of finer sandpaper here with WD-40, and I'm going to lubricate this ball real well with WD-40. And then I'm going to just kind of lightly go around it to kind of take this crud off of it. Damn it. I'm looking at it myself instead of through the camera, and then I drop the camera down. I want to try to get a little bit closer to that ball. As you can see, there's some pitting right there that I haven't got out, and there's still some pitting in the shaft itself. But I'm gonna hit this again with some WD-40 on here, and then I'm gonna actually just try to rub it out with this rubbing compound. I mean, look at this, guys. This is really scooting. So, I mean, it's spinning at 1630 RPMs. I could run it up to 3000, but I don't think I need to go that fast. Alright, I'm going to move on now. You see that swirling? It's like a green plastic. That don't come out of there. Okay guys, so here's the refinished blue handle and the still original red handle. I mean, you can still see some imperfections where the you know, pitting was just too severe to take out. I mean, I suppose I could, but I'm happy with that. I mean, I can say that's still the original handle, right? Up under here, just polishing compound. Same thing within that mold divot or whatever. I assume that's where they inject it at. So we'll take a look at this red one. I'll try to include a still shot of before and after, right after this you know, section right here. There's this black stuff on the top. Not quite sure what that is, but alright. Coming up's the before and after shots. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 80 grit to remove most of the rusty scale. Okay, so I went over the shaft with 80 grit and I removed most of the big scale. Now I'm going to go ahead and run some 120 grit on this. Alright, so now I've ran the 120 on here. I'm going to go ahead and move to 240. And then I'm also going to lightly run the 240 across this ball with some WD-40 to try to take off like that black spot and all that. Okay, I ran 220 on this ball with WD-40 so you can see how dull it is right now. So now I'm going to start polishing the whole thing. Paint is dry, guys, and my door warped. So, ain't that frickin' lovely? It is what it is now. It warped or something. Wasn't like that before I painted it. There's little bits of dust on here. You know, I can spray some pledge on here and wax the top. I haven't figured out. See how this crack is along the wood? And then right there where like primer builds up and then fills the crack. I wish it would either not do that or do it across the whole thing. But this side, that seam is nice. But I'm not going to complain about that either. I mean, I can't even see really where, maybe a little bit where that bug was at. There's the back door there. This back door turned out okay. It didn't warp. Man, I don't know. I don't even know if I should put vinyl on this. It just looks so good. You know, if the Narc sticker that comes for the head stock or head unit isn't super shiny compared to this stuff, I don't know if I'm going to put the other vinyl on. I think it would end up making it look worse, especially right here at the seams where you have to cut and then lay it over and cut. Really wish you guys could see this in person. It really turned out nice. I'm actually kind of proud of that. And I don't do that very much with my own work. Alright guys, so I got 2 days left until I get my little pacemaker in my chest, and then I'm not allowed to do anything for 6 weeks basically. So when it becomes winter time and I ain't got nothing to do, at least I got my painting done on this, right guys? So I really wanted to get to pole position all the way back there in the corner, and I would like someday to redo that Rally X. So I got an X-Men cabinet now. I want to do 2 sit-down cruisins. I got my super hang on and my afterburner. And I finally, well, I can do a 27-inch now for the big buck hunter. You know, hard driving still works. It just needs some love, you know. Alright guys, well, I am going to take these in and clean them. That's a Narc bezel and the bezel for Simpsons. I am going to take the door in for Simpsons and put it on, so that'll be in another video. This is why I like to blow dust around, guys, because it lands on everything. And then when it lands on stuff and I paint, if some overspray comes around here, it lands on the dust and then it blows right off and wipes off. So you always see the uncovered machines, they're covered in dust. So alright guys, this will probably be one of the last videos I make for a long time, so I hope everything goes well. So like and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff, and I appreciate you guys always watching. Alright, peace.